Welcome once again to the Old Call Report. And of course, you see on there we're coming to you live from the beautiful downtown Eau Claire Arena, formerly known as Banbury Place. And boy, oh boy, are we glad to see you again tonight. And as you can notice here, Freddie Boy is lost again. So we're putting out an APB bulletin for Fred, the true Stafford. So if anyone knows where Freddie Boy is, please give us a call. Roy will be putting up the phone number here momentarily on the Old Call Report to let you know exactly what that phone number is. And it's been a while since I've been with you. A couple of weeks ago I had wasn't feeling too good, so it was one of the very rare appearances where it wasn't live on an evening, Monday evening. Probably one out of, I think, 2 times in the last 8 or 9 years.
Yeah, Fred's getting out now, I think.
And the other time was once when I was way down in the southwestern part of the state in a debate with Steve Gunderson and Harvey, that guy running for Congress on the Democratic side. I'll think of his last name in a minute. It's been 4 years ago. A lot of water under the bridge, so I'll think of his name here in a minute. But anyway, we really showed up Gunderson that night down there. So Fred, I think, handled the program that night. I had a taped message, and Fred went on live. So that's one of the few other times. But boy, oh boy, as usual, do we have a lot to talk about. And once again now, 839-6261, if anyone sees Fred out there along the side of the road anywhere. You know, in Wisconsin notorious for having shoes and tennis shoes and stuff on the you'll see them when you're driving down the road. I always wondered how can so many people lose their shoes in Wisconsin. But that's one thing you always see a lot of, is one tennis shoe or one boot or one, there we go. Now there's Norbert. Norbert, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Fred's just getting
There's Norbert, and I think he's found, now that's the live. Okay. I'm going to shut off our ringer, Roy, and you're going to have to handle those rings from in there.
Okay, Fred.
And of course, you know, coming to you live, we have a lot of technical things to work out. Now, hopefully, there's Fred, the true Stafford, getting out of his limo down there. And of course, they're live right down there. There's
give me your
Norbert.
instructions. I didn't.
Norbert is an expert on NASA.
Tell me when I should give the phone to
space
Fred.
travel and Apollo 13. And
okay,
with him is Fred,
the phone to him now.
true Stafford, of course, down there in the parking lot.
Hello there. Hello.
Boys, can you hear me down there?
Yes.
Hello.
We can hear you.
Well, that's good. Maybe we'll get some sound in here so I can hear you and converse with you.
Yeah?
See if I can get some sound into here. And, of course, that's Fred the True Stafford and Norbert W. Wilson down there in the arena parking lot, right there live. And that's the new arena cam. Of course, they're standing right there by the no parking sign down there.
Yeah?
So make sure you guys don't get a ticket down there now for parking there in that no parking zone.
Yes, sir.
And it's kind of hard for me to communicate with those guys down there because I can't hear what they're saying.
Well, it looks like it.
And of course, we'll try and straighten that out momentarily. Norbert, I can see fine down there. You got your briefcase with you? Or is that Fred?
Yes. Yes, I have.
What do you got in that briefcase?
I got a lot of stuff. Yeah, I guess so, Fred.
What kind of stuff? Is it all legal?
Yes.
You ain't got any illegal contributions to the DNC in there, do you?
He's on to television now.
You guys look like a couple characters down there getting ready to hand some money over to the Democratic National Committee.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
So you be up to see you now?
Well, let's see. As usual, we like to tell you what's going on this day in history.
Television station.
And boy, oh boy, has there been a lot going on this day in
We're going live
history.
from the parking lot here, Cliff.
And we'll be getting reports most of the evening from downstairs live at the arena parking lot down there. And of course, it's amazing. We saved the city. We saved the city $59 million by building the arena right here at the former Banbury Place. And as you can see, there's been a lot of construction down there in the parking lot. And what we did was we just took some dynamite down there and threw it around a couple of weeks ago, and we made a crater down there, and we put some bleachers in there. And then we took the old, well, I don't know if any of you have ever been down to Champaign, Illinois, but they got that great big assembly hall down there. It looks like two saucers or two bowls put together. Well, they tore that down, and we had that shipped up here, and we put that on top there. So we have a domed arena right here in Eau Claire. We saved the city $59 million. Can you believe that? I'll tell you. Well, can we get a live shot of the boys down there in the arena parking lot? Is there have you got a lot of traffic down there?
No.
Hello?
No.
I can where are you at?
Right from the building.
Well, you need to be down there at the,
What are you going to do with me down there?
you need to be down there at the no parking sign.
Yeah? Why?
So we know where you're at there. There's a live shot of the arena parking lot. You can see the cars that are filling up in there. I think tonight we have a boxing match between, that little guy's about 5'2". What the heck was his
Yes,
name?
I'm walking over there again.
Sonny Liston's younger brother is fighting Muhammad Ali's uncle. And of course that's here at the arena tonight. The tickets are only $14
Yeah?
for ringside seats, and of course that's the Intercontinental Sidewinder, Eastern Wisconsin, north of Highway 29 belt.
Yes.
And that's up for grabs tonight at the arena here.
Yes.
So if you're not doing anything, come on down to the arena, $14 a ticket, and Norbert and Fred will direct you right there to your parking spaces. There they are right there, and they'll be able to,
Yeah.
we got a little bit of a lighting problem there.
Camera's right over
They'll
there.
be able to direct you right to your parking space, and then you can get into the arena there and pay your price for your tickets and see a beautiful boxing match. Of course, that will be live tonight. Well, as usual, we have a few technical difficulties. Of course, you know it is dark out there, and those boys try and do the best they can to see what they can accomplish down there. And I was going to let Fred know now that we've got a lot of mail recently about his latest line of carp sausage. The latest flavor he has now is licorice flavored carp sausage. Of course, with the amount of carp this spring, he's had an overflow of carp, and he didn't, you can just store so much of that stuff. And so he's mixed a little bit of licorice in there, and he's got a licorice flavored carp sausage for only $29.95. It's about 5 pounds, and even though it's got that licorice flavoring in it, they still swear that it tastes just like chicken. So we'll be giving you Fred's phone number later on. You can be able to call him.
I don't want it. I don't sell it. I don't have any.
Of course.
So
Right from Fred, the True Stafford Carp Sausage Factory, and that's right downstairs here. That's one of the things that we kept here when we made the arena. We made a little space down there. So, one of the things, since Fred's getting a little older now, it's hard for him to get the carp up from the river, because it's a pretty steep bank down there, right here behind the former Banbury place there. So we had a conveyor belt that ran all the way down, and we took it out of the old tire factory here. They used to run tires on there. They used to throw the tires on one end of the conveyor belt there, and they could run them several blocks. Well, what we did was we ripped that all out of here. They were going to throw it out anyway, melt it down for scrap. So we took that and we ran it all the way to the river.
Yeah, baloney.
Look the other end, right at the back door of Fred's carp sausage factory.
Baloney.
And so now all they have to do, he hired a guy down there that just stands at the river. The boats come up, they bring their boatloads of carp, and they just throw them right on the conveyor belt. They come right in the back door of the carp sausage factory, right into the grinder. Fred throws a little bit of licorice in there. And I don't know what kind of casings he's using now. He used to use beef casings, but he said he was thinking about going to pork casings. But then all the carp sausage and stuff is ground up. The licorice is thrown in. It goes into the 5-pound hunks of carp sausage, and then it ages in there in the Fred's the True Stafford aging bin.
I
underneath the
don't
ground
have
there,
an
where it's
aging
cool all
bin
year
or
round.
anything
It
like
ages
that.
down
That's
there.
a lot of baloney.
That's where they get that peculiar flavor.
Yeah,
that
that
everybody talks
peculiar
about it.
flavor,
That's, where
we
they
don't
say
have
that it tastes
anything
like
with a
chicken.
peculiar flavor. We
It's
don't
unique.
have any
Fred's the only one in the
crappy.
world that's making it right now, and of course you can get that right here at the downtown arena,
Yeah.
formerly Banbury Place.
Yeah.
All right, well, Freddie boy and Norb, what are you guys doing down there?
I'm doing nothing.
You got your, you got anything there? It's your turn to speak there. You got one of your news clippings there you can read?
Well, I have quite a few news clippings. You know,
Where's Norbert?
he walked away. I have something here, and this I'll get it out. Hold it.
Hey, Roy, you think you can get some way I can get some sound to hear what Freddie boy's saying? Huh. We got an extra speaker or something we could run in here? All right, there, where's Freddie? He's getting out his papers there, and of course, I'll make sure you cover up those checks there for the DNC, Fred. Don't let anyone be seeing those. All right. Okay, well, while Fred's getting that out, I'll see what we got here on this day in history. Let's see, on this day in history back in, there was another boxing match on this date in history back in 1900. In an effort to regain the heavyweight boxing title, James J. Corbett, known as Gentleman Jim, was knocked out cold by James J. Jeffries
Yes.
in the 23rd round.
Yes.
Now that's back when they did bare knuckles fighting, and sometimes they go 20, 30, 40 rounds. As a matter of fact, the longest boxing match in history was held out in, I think it was in Nevada. I'll think of the name in a minute, but they went about 40-some rounds, and that was in the early 1900s, about 1910 or 12. Went over 40 rounds, bare knuckles. And that's back when they really did fight. Nowadays they go 10, 12 rounds, they can hardly stand up. So back in 1900 they went 23 rounds, and Gentleman Jim Corbett got knocked out, and James J. Jeffries took over as the heavyweight champion of the world. Okay, well, is Freddie boy ready down there to read his article?
Yes. Pat Buchanan has written a book and tells about how we lost 600,000 jobs to Mexico, and one of the last firms that went down there was Hershey's Chocolates, and they even made the chocolates a little smaller. And he had an article here in the Wanderer from St. Paul, and he calls it the computer braceros, and it tells them how they have they're doing this, and the Republicans, the leadership of the Republicans have gone along with this and done what Clinton wanted, and it bodes evil for our
Can't hear Freddie boy.
for our nation. So I think that we ought to repeal NAFTA and the other group that followed them.
Okay, I can hear him now.
Yes.
All right, well, Freddie, that's pretty interesting. What does Norbert think about that?
He isn't here.
Well, where'd he go?
I think he went into the building.
Well, we'll see if we can track him down and get him back down here, because he's got to direct traffic, because you and I got to talk about the important things going on here, and we can't have you standing down there in a parking lot with $50,000 in Democratic National Committee money.
Yeah.
Without a guard.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll see if we can get somebody down there to guard you there until those guys in the suits come up there and get that money.
Yeah.
All right, well, Freddie boy, that was a pretty good article there, and what do you think about Pat Buchanan's chances of winning in the year 2000?
I don't know. From what I hear, the Republicans don't seem to like him, and if I was him, I'd get out of the party and join the taxpayers' party.
Huh. Well, who do you think his running mate should be?
Well, maybe Elizabeth Dole,
Well, yeah, that would be a pretty good pair.
but I don't think that she's would accept it.
Well, you know, Freddie, we just passed a milestone here in the United States. And, you know, people are working longer to pay their taxes, and we think everything's hunky-dory in this country. But, you know, it took one more day this year to pay all of your federal, state, and local taxes than it did last year. Americans worked 129 days from New Year's last Saturday to pay their federal, state, and local taxes.
Yes.
And so taxes are continuing to go up, and you know our buddy President Clinton there, the one you got all that money for down there, he...
I didn't get any money for him, and I wouldn't give it to him if I had gotten some.
Well, I'll tell you, somebody's going to come down there and cold cock you with some kind of a lead pipe or something to take that money out of the billfold there.
I don't think so. Anybody's going to cold cock me. I think you're just making that up.
Well, I heard you were down at the Legion collecting checks for Clinton.
I was not.
All right. It won't be the first time.
Yeah.
Okay, Freddie boy, well, you know, you were kind of truant today, a little bit late tonight, so we got an article here from the Leader Telegram talking about the truancy rate soaring at our local schools. And,
yes.
Students in North and Memorial High Schools aren't answering the bell as often as last year, according to Julian Emerson, Leader Telegram staff reporter. Truancy statistics for 97-98 school...
Hello, Norbert.
Hello, Fred.
School year show high school students missing class
Yeah.
at a significantly higher rate than last school year. The report was released at Monday night's school board meeting. That was last Monday night. Habitual truancy
Information.
is up 48% from last year
I read
and
something
15%
already. That was
at
from last
North.
week.
Oh.
Those figures contrast with a sharp drop last year
looks like
in students cutting class after high truancy numbers in the district 2 years ago. This problem cannot
wonder.
continue to be overlooked, said North Principal
That's
Terry
Princeton
Donnan.
and St. Paul.
We need the rest of the community to help enforce this. Until that happens, I don't think we're going to solve the problem. Now, Freddie boy, what do you think the problem with truancy is in this town?
The kids don't go to school.
Well, that's a pretty good start.
Yeah.
Well, you know, Fred, when you went to school back in New York City, they just let you run the streets when you wanted to?
What? Did I what?
Did they let you just run around in the streets during school hours in New York?
We went to school.
So you didn't skip school, huh?
No.
Well, the truancy rate's kind of getting out of hand, but you know,
Want to sit down? Come
from
around.
time to time I'll be driving around town about 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'll say to myself, is school already out? Why are those kids hanging around on the street corner? Or what are those 2 kids doing there by the grocery store? What are they doing down there by the river fishing? And you're saying that to yourself, but I bet there's hundreds of other people saying that too. And like the local principals are saying, it's going to take more than just the people at school to get this problem solved. It's going to take people, parents, and it's also going to take people that see these kids hanging around
They're not
downtown
learning
area or in
anything
the
in the
malls or over at some lake or the river or wherever. You got to ask yourself, look at your watch and say, geez, it's kind of early for school to be out. And, you know, you want to possibly report them people if you know that school's in session and you see some people or some kids that look like they're of school age. That's the only way you're going to cut this down, because once they leave the school building, it's pretty hard for the principal there to do much about it. They've still got a couple of thousand other students to watch over, and that's one of the problems. They're getting out, they're leaving the buildings, and they're out and about all over town, and nobody seems to be doing anything about it. They just kind of let them run.
I know.
But it's up to the citizens of the city and the county to report those to the sheriff's department or to the police department, and you start doing that, and you'll see quickly that'll drop from 40. Well, I don't know what the exact figure is, but you'll see that there'll be a drastic drop once that the students know that there's people watching them and that they're going to be reported. They won't be as likely to skip school.
They ought to go to...
The biggest increase in habitual truants of both high schools was amongst females. The number of females skipping class at Memorial rose 80% from last school year and 25% in North. So you've got a lot of girls now that are skipping school and running the streets too.
Yes.
Now, I used to be involved as a truant officer and a attendance counselor in a regional school system that had about, I think it was 9 counties, 8 or 9 counties, or parts of counties. My job was to travel those 8 or 9 counties. A lot of it was rural area, looking for kids that were skipping school and talking to their parents. And the state that I worked in had laws where the parents could be prosecuted for the child being out of school. And I tell you prosecute a few parents, and I think in that 3.5 years I only had to prosecute 2 families. The word gets around, and the other kids aren't as likely to skip school. So I think there's a law in this state, and I think there's also some laws hooked in with losing your driver's license and stuff. If there isn't, perhaps they need to be introduced down there in Madison real quick. But Eau Claire school system is not the only system where they have that problem. The Milwaukee schools has a very severe dropout rate and a very high truancy rate. And so, but you don't expect that from a city like Eau Claire. It's supposed to be one of the safest places in the United States, if not the world, to live in. But one thing also that the city council didn't have the backbone to do several years ago, and that was to set up a curfew in this town. So you had kids running the streets till 5 or 6 in the morning if they wanted to. And you still have that situation because there's no curfew in this city. And probably if you could couple in a curfew with a little more vigorous prosecution of the parents, and then you would see a drastic drop. It's kind of like New York City. Mayor Giuliani took a lot of flack from all the gangsters out there and the Al Sharpton crooks and bums like him that are out there stirring up trouble, and the communists and the socialists that just want to have everything free and everybody should have heroin and needles should be fully available to everyone. The only way New York City finally took back the streets, and they're taking them back block by block, is they moved police into blocks where there's a lot of drug use and truancy and a lot of loitering. And they would just basically, they'll shut off a 2 or 3 block area and then go in there house to house and start kicking them out, arresting them, busting the drug dealers, the prostitutes, just going house to house and just cleaning them out. And finally, for the first time in New York's probably the last 50 years anyway, they've had a reduction in crime since Giuliani took over, and they're getting somewhere out there. People are actually able to start walking the streets again. They're cleaning up the crime, and sometimes you have to get tough on it, like with the truancy rate. And this is something might have to come out of Madison in the way of legislation. I know Thompson right now is talking about taking over the Milwaukee school system because of the vast major problems they have there. And possibly that's going to need to be what happens. And they're also talking about taking over the Washington, D.C. school system if it doesn't straighten out. So this is a problem that's going nationwide, and that could be one way that it could be handled. Now, Roy, how are we doing on phone calls? I know the phones rang a couple times out there. What's going on? Okay, can we get down to the arena cam, parking lot cam down there? Okay, Fred, what do you got next?
Well, I know that Human Life International used to be headed by Father Marks, and there's another man that's heading it now, and he puts the powers that be on notice. Gee, I got mosquitoes down here.
Big got mosquitoes?
Yeah, big mosquitoes.
South American mosquitoes.
You seen any wood ticks?
What?
Got any wood ticks?
I don't know if I got any of them.
Big one.
Whoops.
Extra big one.
Now we had a little bit of trouble with our our
Weather conditions.
arena cam down there. Well, Fred, can you ask Norbert if he can explain a little bit about the next manned flight to the moon?
You want to talk about the next flight to the moon?
Oh, hi, Chuck. This is Norb. Are you there?
Well, you got to get him over by the microphone, Fred.
Oh, this is Norb. Oh, okay. I need the microphone.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't know that. That was.
Yeah.
You needed that. I didn't even know I had that.
Okay, I got the mic.
Okay, Norbert, can you
Yeah.
tell us if there's any manned flights to the moon planned in the next 10 years?
Well, all they've been doing is not doing anything seriously. They've just been photographing the poles, and the analysts, the scientists claim that there might be evidence of water in ice forms on the North Pole of the moon, or water in ice forms in the South Pole of the moon. And if they could, might use it for resources eventually, if they put a colony on the moon and use it for water, but they're just looking it over now. And they're kind of speculating what they might give some directions in the future in the 21st century, Chuck.
Well, Norbert, does NASA have any manned flights planned for Mars or anywhere?
The news I read today said that the rocks formation that looked like a human face, there's a group of people that want to say it's not natural, that there is a rock formation like there. There's a lot of unnatural rock formations, and they want to investigate them a little closer, was the news report that we got today.
All right. Well, yeah, I saw that, how that did deteriorate there from the wind or whatever, and they say now that it was just a trick of some light and the way the sun was shining on the planet there or whatever, that it was not really a face on Mars. There was just
well, the surveyor,
lights and shadows.
they did adjust the surveyor to take a closer 3 passes every 90 every so many hours, and NASA claims they've got enough pictures of the what they claim, some scientists claim, is the artificial face on Mars, and they're going to put the Mars is going around the other side of the sun, and they turned off the cameras there for a few days, and so now in a day or two they should turn the cameras back on. The Mars is coming around the sun, and so they can receive more pictures, and then they're going to readjust the altitude of the surveyor to come in lower, so they can get do some serious mapping of the planet Mars.
Okay, well, Norbert, now I think we're going to have the arena cam there back up a little bit so you can see the new arena parking lot there. If we have our man on that camera there, if he can back up and get a wide shot of the arena parking lot there, the new Eau Claire Arena parking lot, and you can see what Norbert and Fred are up against down there. You can see that's part of the new arena parking lot, and you can see where the cars are filling in now for the boxing match tonight, and of course that'll be at 10:05, and that's supposed to be a major boxing match between two well-known boxers for that belt, that championship belt, and the highway north of Highway 29 belt. That's what they like to call it. They rounded it off a little bit there, otherwise it gets too long and it's hard to write all that on their belt that they wear. And of course, that's semi-precious jewels in that belt that they'll be fighting for tonight. And well, Fred and Norbert are down there in the arena parking lot, and they'll be observing cars coming in. And Norbert, I noticed you got a no parking sign right there.
Yes, temporarily I just turn it facing north.
Where is that sign?
I got my hand on it right here now.
Can we read it?
Oh, okay, I'll turn it around. There.
What's it say?
It says no parking in front of sign. I'm off to the left. Fred is off to the right.
And that way the people that are filling in there for the big match tonight, they won't be parking right by you and Fred.
Yeah, that's right. We got it turned around now.
Okay, now is Fred ready for his next article?
Okay, I'll give him a buzz. Fred, are you ready for your next article? Yeah. Fred claims he's ready for his next article. I'll give him the microphone. Stand by.
All right.
Yeah.
That's a big 10-4, good buddy.
Hello there.
Hello, Fred.
Say, I see where Senator Helms says America's moral crisis underlies its ills. And with Bishop Martino, the Holy See's representative in the United Nations, the student representatives from at least 25 colleges and universities, and 1,000 guests. The National Rights to Life Committee proudly pro-life dinner honored Senator Jesse Helms and Supreme Court Federal Dechant of the Knights of Columbus. So Senator Helms introduced 27 pro-life bills and amendments during his 25-year Senate career. To substantial applause after Vice President Dan Quayle in a videotape tribute recalled that Helms entered the U.S. Senate only 17 days before the Supreme Court's decision that legalized abortion, and immediately he stepped to the town for a choice for those who had no voice.
Well, what does that mean in layman's terms?
Well, it means that Senator Helms is a good senator that supports pro-life measures.
Huh. Well, that's amazing. Amazing what they can do out there. Well, on a closer to home note here, I got a recent flyer from the Eau Claire County Republican Party newsletter, and it tells about a sesquicentennial Harley ride that the governor's going to take with anybody, I guess, that wants to hop on the caravan and ride. It's going to start in Madison on June 19th, 1998, and will conclude in the nation's capital on June 24th. The governor, Tommy Thompson, is leading a caravan for a traveling celebration of Wisconsin's sesquicentennial and the 95th anniversary of Harley-Davidson.
Yes.
So all that are interested are invited to register. So it doesn't matter if you're Republican, Democrat, or whatever. If you got a motorcycle and you want to get in that caravan, it's starting in Madison on June 19th, and it's going to go all the way out to Washington, D.C. Now, along the way, there'll be featured each day special meetings and events, culminating in a procession down Pennsylvania Avenue and the kickoff of the Smithsonian Folk Festival.
Yeah.
The route considered tentative at this time is June 19th. All the riders will meet at the state capitol and head for Springfield, Illinois for a special event with Governor Jim Edgar of Illinois. Then on to Champaign, Illinois, and that's, of course, that's where we got the top part of the saucer of the biggest assembly hall down there. You've all seen the assembly hall where many of Big Ten basketball games have been held over the years, and I went to a Grateful Dead concert there many, many years ago, and the marijuana smoke was so strong in the place, that people were falling in the aisles, just literally falling down. Fred, can you believe that?
Yes, I can believe it.
Grateful Dead, of course. I think that was probably a little bit before your time. Remember the Grateful Dead, Fred?
I don't remember them, no.
Probably a little bit.
I never
before,
listened to them.
They were probably a little bit before your time, but anyway, they lifted off the top part of that assembly hall and they shipped that up here to Eau Claire. And of course, we're using that now for the roof of the Eau Claire downtown arena here at the former Banbury place. And of course, once again now, if anyone wants to come down here for a tour, Fred is giving tours.
No, I'm not giving any tours.
Fred's giving tours.
I'm not giving any tours.
9 to 5, Monday
I'm
through
not
Friday.
here.
Of the Cow
I'm
Report
not giving any
videos
tours.
and the new arena, the downtown arena.
And if you come down here, you'll be a damn fool.
Well, Fred, you know, what people want to know is, how did you manage to save $59 million on the arena?
I didn't save any.
And I'll tell you, this, I got one letter that said it was a stroke of genius when you put that conveyor belt all the way down to the river so you could have the carp come right into the back of your...
I don't think so.
Come right back into the back of your store there. So
No way. No way at all.
well, where did you get all the licorice at?
I didn't have any licorice. And you're just making that up.
I'll tell you one thing. It's a good thing the carp season, the run's over now, because
Yeah, that's a good thing, is right.
you don't have any
You
more
won't be
space
talking
left.
about it anymore.
You don't have any more space left for curing them down there in your basement.
I don't have any space at all, no.
So anyway, once they get to Champaign on June 19th, then they go from there. I guess they're going to stay in Champaign that night, and that's a pretty good trip from Madison to Champaign. Is a good 350 miles at least. That's a pretty good jaunt from Springfield to Champaign.
Yeah.
Then on June 20th, they leave for Dayton, Ohio, with an event with Governor O'Banion of Ohio in Indianapolis. Well, that doesn't make sense. I guess Governor O'Banion, I don't think George Voinovich is the governor of Ohio. O'Banion must be the governor of Indiana.
Yeah.
And, oh yeah, okay, they're going to Dayton, Ohio, but they're going to have an event with Governor O'Banion in Indianapolis midway. Then
Yeah.
on June 21st, they go to Columbus for an event, and then on to Wheeling, Pennsylvania. Then they go from June 22nd, the destination is York, Pennsylvania, and a special evening activity. Then on June 23rd, they're going on a morning brunch at the Harley-Davidson plant. I assume that's in York, Pennsylvania, with Governor Ridge of Pennsylvania, celebrating Harley's 95th anniversary.
And that guy is not pro-life.
Who is?
Governor Ridge. He's not pro-life. He's pro-abortion.
Oh.
So
All
they
right.
probably, this woman is running against him, Peggy somebody.
Peggy
Hey.
Luxick?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, then when they get to the Harley plant, they're going to have a celebration, celebrate Wisconsin Sesquicentennial, and then they depart for Washington, D.C. with an evening event in Washington. Now on June 24th, they meet in the morning and proceed down Pennsylvania Avenue to the Smithsonian for the Smithsonian Folk Festival. Now the Smithsonian Institute will showcase Wisconsin on the National Mall. More than 1 million people will attend this free festival, where exhibits of crafts, cultural performances, work demonstrations, tailgate parties with fish fry, beer, brats, and cheese, along with barns and other unique aspects of Wisconsin will be highlighted. As Governor Thompson says, this is a time to show our pride in Wisconsin as well as in Harley-Davidson. So take part in celebrating Wisconsin's sesquicentennial. And one of the movers and shakers on that tour is State Senator Dave Zien, and so he'll be in the procession that will be traveling out to Washington. It doesn't say what they're going to do after June 24th, but I'm sure they'll turn around and come back. So it's a long haul back from Washington, D.C. to here. So if you're planning on going, you better make arrangements to be off for 7-8 days off of work, because it looks like it's going to take that long, from the 19th to the 24th, culminating with the procession down Pennsylvania Avenue. So that's one of the main events of this summer, and of course celebrating our 150 years as a state. Now, Fred,
Yes.
back in the early days, back when you guys were down there at the state convention down there in Madison, what was it like down there to be part of forming a state? I mean, there's not too many people alive that actually formed a state. Hello?
I don't want that page.
Hello?
I want the front of it.
Oh, you want the front of it?
Yeah.
Norbert, you make sure that briefcase is closed now. He's got a couple of big checks
the
with
front.
DNC in there. All right, you guys, you're on the air here.
It's on the other side.
Freddie boy.
No, that's not it.
Is that the front?
No.
How
What are you looking for?
What?
What are you looking for?
I'm looking for something in the Wanderer.
Toilet paper.
The Wanderer.
You're looking for the front.
Yeah. Is this it?
All right, well, Fred and Norbert are down there getting ready for the mass influx of the cars that will be pulling in here any minute for the big boxing match. And of course, you'll be able to buy licorice flavored carp sausage.
Okay.
Fred will have exclusive rights to sell food at the
the
boxing
radio
match, and there won't be
talk
anything
show
else
host.
available except Fred's carp sausage. And
I'm not that many carp sausage. That's your carp sausage.
and of course, that's Fred coming to you live from the Arena Cam down in the Arena parking lot, formerly the Banbury Place parking lot. And with him is his
And here it says
his
radio
mentor and
talk
guide,
show.
Norbert W. Wilson. Okay. Well, while they're looking for that here, I noticed there was a little article in the Leader Telegram sometime here in the last couple of days talking about the governor signing a partial birth abortion ban into law here in the state of Wisconsin. I think it's one of about 15 or so states now that have a ban on that gruesome procedure that we've explained and talked about many times here on the Old Cow Report. And for those of you that don't remember, it's basically a partial birth abortion is where a fully developed child up to 8 months, 3 weeks, 6 days, 23 hours, and 59 minutes, and 59 seconds can be removed partially from the mother's womb to the point where the only thing that's remaining within the womb would be the baby's head. And they insert either scissors to cut the brainstem, or they insert a hypodermic needle to actually withdraw the brain fluid and the brain tissue out of the
Quarter of an hour to
infant's
go.
head. And then, once the child is dead, they remove it the rest of the way out of the mother's womb. And of course, the baby is dead at that point, and that's what's called a partial birth abortion. One way or the other, they destroy the life of the child and then remove totally. Now, somehow it's Fred, how's the weather down there? Looks like it's turned drastic down there. Is it still snowing?
No, it's not.
Well, it is too. We got it on the screen right here. It's snowing cats and dogs down there.
It's not snowing here. So you must have a picture of something else.
Must be one of those anomalies where it just snows in one part of the arena parking lot there.
I don't think so.
Well, there
It's
it is
not
down
down
there. It doesn't
there.
look like it's snowing there. You
It's
getting
about
any-
80 degrees, so that I don't think it'll snow when it's that warm.
Well, what the heck's going on there? There we are. All right.
talk show host, the Catholic voice in the area is silenced. Milton's Catholic.
Can we get a picture of the arena cam down there, Fred's?
Pat Buchanan lampooned the icons of the Liberal Amateur Church, and
we lost our picture there. What's going on, Roy? There we are.
And the stations of the FLP flagship, 1330, 5 days a week was on 3 to 5, and Pat Buchanan lost his job.
Huh.
He was critical of the Bishop's Congress campaign for Hispanic development, or no, human development.
Okay, now, has the common man shown up down there yet?
No, he certainly has not shown up.
From what I understand, he was over there testifying at the snake convention over there at the city council meeting tonight.
Is that right?
We're going to talk about that 20-foot snake and rabbits and gerbils and things of that nature, and about outlawing them.
Yeah.
Can you imagine them outlawing rabbits from Eau Claire?
Yep.
Or charging can you imagine a bunch of rabbits running around with dog tags?
Yes.
Running all over town?
Yes.
With a yearly dog tag for about 25 bucks?
Yes.
That'll knock a hole in the rabbit industry.
Yes, I know.
And what about snakes? How are they going to put a dog tag on a snake and make it stick?
Well, they put it around his neck.
Well, a snake always got a neck.
What?
All a snake has is a neck.
He's got right after where his nose is, and he has his eyes, they'll put it on there.
Well, the trouble with a snake is he doesn't have any shoulders.
What?
A snake doesn't have any shoulders.
He doesn't? Well, that's too bad.
Well, anyway, Fred, getting back to this partial birth abortion ban, there was an article by Sherry Dubile of the Planned Parenthood of Wisconsin Eau Claire chapter, public outreach coordinator, and she's kind of lambasting the governor and the state assembly for passing this law. But how can anybody in their right mind say that they want partial birth abortions? It's been condemned by just about every civilized nation. It's been overwhelmingly condemned by both Democrats and Republicans and independents in the state capitol, except for Clinton, who vetoed the bill on at least 2 or 3 occasions. And by the way, Russ Feingold, our illustrious U.S. Senator from Wisconsin, saw fit to vote to keep that gruesome Nazistic procedure legal nationwide. But there's been some heroic states, assemblies, and governors in the states that have taken it upon themselves to pass a law to outlaw that procedure. And Wisconsin now has become one of those states. And we'll get back to this in a minute, but we're going to take a call here real quick. Go ahead, caller, you're on the air.
Yeah, it's Common Man. I just got home from the big meeting.
Well, where you been?
That's where I was. I was down there talking against the snake ordinance. I mean, in favor of the snake ordinance, excuse me.
Well, you got 12 minutes to get down there to the arena cam down there in the parking lot.
Well, I don't know. I came back home again. I didn't know you guys were down there.
Well, yeah, you're supposed to help with the parking. You had Norbert and Fred.
It was a nice thought. It was a nice thought, but I mean, I didn't get back here until after you guys.
There it is, right there. Can you see it on your TV?
I can see it.
You see Norbert there?
Yeah.
He's an expert on things about NASA and going to the moon and stuff.
Yeah.
Of course, you know the other guy there, Fred the True Stafford,
Sure.
the carp sausage king of the Midwest.
I'm not the sausage king of the Midwest.
Come on now, Chuck. Quit picking on Fred. Fred's a big guy. We all know that. By the way, I thought I'd give you some information on all the tapes I got, all my old programs. They're in 100% perfect condition. Didn't you know that? all out myself.
Huh. Did you come
So,
up?
why were you in my cane? And by the way, you're in a beautiful shade of black and white tonight for some reason.
Black and white, huh?
Yep. And I had one of those like that too, but that was back in the old library days.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Well, I don't know. We got a lot of cameras going. We got the arena cam getting ready for the main boxing match here tonight. We was hoping you'd come down and help direct traffic down there for the big match.
We don't,
Down
we
here
don't
at the
have
new
any
arena.
traffic down here
Of course,
at
we're
all.
celebrating saving $59 million.
Nobody down. Fred just said there's nobody down there at all except him, the other guy there.
Yeah,
Now,
that's right.
I think
I understand that you went down there and argued about this snake ordinance.
that's right.
Well, what are you arguing for?
Because I think they should have it.
Have what? Snakes or an ordinance?
An ordinance of some kind. Because I did burn. See, I burned and ran over one a long time ago on a bicycle.
But what I want to know is how are you going to put a dog tag on an animal that doesn't have shoulders?
Well, they just shouldn't be. You know, somehow or another, they either going to have it. Either if not an ordinance, then they're going to have to control them better to keep them getting loose. Because you never know. I mean, let's say the dumb thing gets out in the middle of Claremont Avenue or something or whatever. Like I said, down there during the middle of rush hour, and you'd really have a fun time. I just don't like the idea, and I don't like snakes anyway to begin with. So I mean, you know.
Well, the trouble is you get down in there and all the little cats and babies and little puppy dogs and stuff, they'll just eat them up.
Well, that's true. I mean, that's the thing. You know,
And can you imagine once all these animals have to have dog tags or have to have a license, then they'll just be, once they get a license, then they're allowed to run all over town because then they're legal.
You know, that's what they usually do. It kind of reminds me of, I used to live on Ferry Street. I mentioned that down there because that was when that snake incident occurred.
Then they're going to have snake crossings down there.
When I lived down there, we had a guy in the corner about 3-4 houses away from me there on the corner, and he was a policeman. He used to let his dogs run loose.
Huh. Well, can we get down there to the live arena cam down there? See if
I might as well tell you, he got thrown off the force.
who did? Roy?
No, not the policeman. For another reason other than it.
Okay, Norbert, can you see us? Fred?
Hello?
What's going on down there?
Not a damn thing, just Norman and I are standing there, nobody else is here.
Who?
Fred's just looking at the garden journal here.
Well, Common Man wanted to say something to you.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Common.
Sure. Fred, all I can say is the next time you see Chuck, give him a hard time for me.
Yes.
He deserves.
I'll try.
He tried to pull one out of me here with his tape thing here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Common, well, maybe next time you can go down there and we'll try and get some better lighting down there. Can you see Fred and Norbert pretty good down there in the park?
Pretty good there for the most part. I mean,
Well, you know, that's parking lot lighting there, and of course, we saved $59 million by installing
There's
this
a full
arena
moon
right here
there.
at the former Banbury place. And of course, Fred has the exclusive concession now for food and drink.
After all, I kind of know that parking lot pretty well since I drove my car on it once in
You know,
a program. So.
Fred has a delicious drink there. It's similar to Flavin' Pop, but it's made from the squeezings of the leftover carp, and
Will you once and for all get off?
he squeezes all those leftovers in, and this juice drips into a little container there, and he lets that ferment, and it's something like sake once it's fermented. And of course, he's using a little bit of licorice flavoring now, so it's a pretty good deal. So anyway, Fred, what are you doing down there?
Oh, wait for you to come down here and go home.
Okay, well, we got another call on the line here, and they might want to ask you a question, so hang on.
Yeah.
Go ahead, caller, you're on the air.
Hi, I was just wondering how many cows, like, farms are there in Wisconsin?
Well, at one time they said there was more cows in the 3rd Congressional District than there were humans. The 3rd Congressional District is just one of 9 districts, and there's about 550,000 people live in a congressional district, between 550 and 600,000. So just in the 3rd Congressional District there was more than 600,000 cows.
Oh my, that's a lot.
And so if you take that times 9 congressional districts, you might have anywhere upwards over 5 million cows in this state.
Wow. I didn't know there was that many.
Yeah, there's probably as many cows as there are people.
That's a lot.
Yep, and cows have been very good to us here in Wisconsin. That's why they call it the dairy state.
Yeah, I kind of figured that, but I didn't know there was that many cows.
Yeah, but you know, California is overtaken us as far as the leader in producing dairy products, but we're working around the clock to produce more cows so that we can get back the title of being the #1 dairy. We'll always be called the dairy state, but as far as production, I think we're second to California now.
Oh, thank you.
I know.
Did you want to say anything to Fred? I guess she left her. Okay, Freddie, now what's your next article down there?
Oh, I don't know. Geneva Human Rights Meeting passes forced pregnancy resolution. That's from the Wanderer. You know, anybody who wants to know what's going on as far as the Catholic Church is concerned ought to be subscribing to the Wanderer. And something else they ought to do is listen to WWIB Marlon Maddox's program, Point of View, Monday through Friday, 1:05 to 2:30.
Huh, that's amazing. Well, Fred, you got a call. Somebody wants to talk to you, so wait a minute. Go ahead, caller, you're on the air.
Is this the cow report?
Yep.
Yeah, Chuck, I just want to know what you think about the 2000 election, the next elections we got coming up. Who do you think is going to be the Democratic candidates and why?
Well, it's obvious it's going to be Al Gore. He's the vice president. Usually the vice president steps up into the presidential, just moves up the rung and runs just like Dan Quayle did. And but I think that we're going to see Al Gore on the Democratic side with possibly Dianne Feinstein, U.S. Senator from California, as his running mate. On the Republican side, it would be probably a combination, one way or the other, of George W. Bush of Texas, the governor of Texas, George Bush, the president's son, Tommy Thompson, and Elizabeth Dole. We'll probably see some kind of combination there. Probably most likely it'll be George W. Bush for president, Elizabeth Dole vice president. So you'll have two famous names in there, Bush and Dole.
Hey, I got one more quick question for you. Susan McDougal, you think we'll get her to talk ever?
Well, this is kind of a rough way of doing it by throwing her in prison and punishing her for not being willing to talk. But I just don't think she has that much to say, or they'd have killed her by now. Her ex-husband, you know, under suspicious conditions, they found him dead from an overdose of some kind of tranquilizers in his blood system, and someone needs to ask the question, how did he get a hold of all these tranquilizers to take when he was in a prison watched day and night by federal guards? Most likely he was silenced because he did have a lot of information and a lot of first-hand knowledge about kickbacks and bribes to the Clintons, and he was probably rubbed out. That's the way they do business in Washington these days.
Okay, I was just wondering, it seems kind of curious that she refuses to talk even though...
I don't think she's got that much to say. McDougal, her former husband's the one that did all the wheeling and dealing, ran around with all the money and cut all the big deals. I think she was just she signed a few pieces of paper and probably didn't even know what she was signing. She's a very minor figure in the whole thing, and I think this is just a rabbit trail here with her in jail and all that stuff. If she has anything to say, it's not going to really affect things one way or the other. The main players are being eliminated.
Do you think that Clinton's secretary will talk as well? Because it's just that Kenneth Starr's focusing on her now because she let Monica Lewinsky in all those times, and she was just, you know, literally a down the hallway when Monica Lewinsky was at the White House. Do you think she'll come forward or no?
Well, her, I think it was her son, mysteriously jumped out of his car and ran into traffic a few weeks ago and killed himself. They said it was a weird situation. He just jumped out of his car, ran into the middle of the interstate, and got hit by another car.
Oh, that sounds like a real
But
So-
that's just one of many. Also, the guy that found the papers in the car down in Arkansas, that had been in a car in a junkyard for about 10 years. Inside the trunk were some papers from one of the banks, I think it was, and in one of the checks they found, it was a check to Bill Clinton for $20,000, a canceled check. And he mysteriously, just a few days ago, mysteriously bolted out of a gas station at a high rate of speed, went across the road and crashes into some trees, and he died. He was fairly young. That's just one on top of another. There's dozens of cases of mysterious deaths like that. Remember Jocelyn Elders? Her son was convicted of dealing cocaine. The person that testified against him was found in a hotel room a few months later. Young man supposedly committed suicide, but more likely he was murdered by the Elders family for sending their son away. So that's how they do business in Arkansas, and they've imported that into Washington.
All right, well, Chuck, I thank you for your time.
Okay.
Have a good night, sir.
All right. Well, you know, once again, it's time to say goodbye here. We should have one time there with Fred down there. You still there, Freddie boy?
Yes.
Okay, well, it's that time again to say goodbye. So you want to say goodbye? You want to say goodbye?
Goodbye.
Okay, well, thanks a lot for tuning in. We'll see you right here again next time on the old Cow Report and the live Arena Cam. Thanks for tuning in. Adios, amigos and amigas.